Good Sunday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Lingelstown Gazette Sports, live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is our High School Hoops weekly recap show. I'll be joined momentarily by our panel of experts, along with our special opening guest as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show. They are our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors. There they are, Hoffman Ford, Payer Apparel, Crystal Bobbit Iron Valley Real Estate, Capital Region Insurance Agency, the Tire Mart, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Ted's Bar and Grill, This and That, the podcast, Tonino's Pizza, and the American Legion Post 272. Thank you once again to these great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our great student athletes we cover. We'd also like to, as we do every week, thank Penn Live Patriot News. We do use some of their photos, usually at least one or two a week, and they do a great job. These guys are professional photographers. We love Penn Live, and we love to interact and have a relationship with them. So thanks to them for allowing us to use some of their photos on a regular basis. And as we always mention, this is a prostate cancer awareness house. I developed prostate cancer, or at least it was noticed in 2022. I ended up having my prostate removed back this past December. And again, this is not about me. This is about you fellas and or your loved ones. If you're a woman or a child of a man up in his 40s or 50s, please make sure that he has been checked, that he gets checked. 1 out of every 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. It's a very easy test. It's called a PSA test. It takes some blood work. And so please, we implore you to get that checked out. And there are different levels of risk. If you're a white male, you want to get checked by the time you're 50. If you're a white male who has a history of prostate cancer, or an African-American male around 45, and then you can have, kind of duplicate risks, added risks, African-American and a history of prostate cancer. So please, between the ages of 40 and 50, please get checked. African Americans, incidentally, are almost twice as likely to develop prostate cancer and almost 2.5 times more likely to die of it. So it is recommended that they are initially tested between 5 to 10 years prior to that of a white male the same age. So thanks for sitting through that. It's very important to me and to a lot of men out there. So we're going to put together a girls basketball Fab 15. We used to do this every year for the boys and the girls. We're going back to doing it for the girls since we don't have a regular weekly show. A lot of great Harrisburg area girls basketball players, and we want to recognize them. So we're going to probably start putting the list together here soon, and then we'll do a show dedicated to that. We'll kind of unveil it or roll it out here in the coming weeks, but we're excited to have an opportunity to showcase some of the girls in the area. So, and then this show, last thing, this show will go on for the next 2 weeks. Okay. We're going to wrap up. It'll be the Sunday following the last state championship games. I believe those games, Dan, Saturday. They usually finish up on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd have to double check.
I believe so, though. Yeah, there's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So whenever the last game is, we're going to do one more show on that Sunday following. So anyway, our coach tonight, our coach guest, we're so excited to have him. His teams have won 3 of the last 4 state championships, PIAA state championships. And I think one of the neat things, one of the feathers in his cap or his program's cap is he's won it at multiple classifications. They said, okay, you're so good, we got to move you up. And that's the way it works. So they moved him up and he won another one. So he won, I think, his first 2 at 3A and then his third one at 4A, where they sit now, and they're in the 4A tournament with 1 win under their belt, and they're moving into the next round. And this is 11th year Devon Prep head coach Jason Fisher. There he is, Coach Fisher.
Hey, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Good.
Did I get all that right?
I believe so, yes.
3 of the last 4 years, you moved up after the first 2 to 4A, and there you sit, still winning games. So I guess we're going to start kind of like generically. Your background in basketball. Let's I don't know if you can leave out the fact that you played against the Harlem Globetrotters if you want, or you could talk about that. Okay. We just found that out 15 minutes ago. That's pretty cool. So I know that now that you have a background playing basketball, but where did it start for you playing wise, and how did you get to where you are today as a coach?
I went to Holy Ghost Prep. I played under Tony Chapman. Dating myself, but I graduated in 95, and then I went up and I played at the University of Scranton under Bob Beswar from 95 to 99, and then played a little bit after college, and then went back and I coached for Tony. I was his JV coach for about 15 or so years, and then been at Devon. I guess this is my 12th or 13th year at Devon. So
I think it's your 11th, isn't it? Or you
I feel like it's more than 11. It might be my 11, somewhere in that range.
I think it's 12 going on 13.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, John. So now we got that cleared up. You've been there a while, though. That's kind of your home for now, sure, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then talk about this year's team. It's worth mentioning. You guys entered the state championship tournament at 5-18, a record of 5-18. And I want people to know that doesn't disqualify you. You play a very brutal schedule. Okay, you're playing against 5A teams, 6A teams, some of them twice, and the way it works out is just once you get to the postseason, if you win the right games, you're going to end up in the tournament. And I understand that, and I know that you earned your way in. But is it a little different this year? West Catholic, incidentally, went into the state tournament last year at 10-13, ended up winning it all.
Yeah. We when we won it 2 years ago, we entered with we had a losing record as well. I think we were 9-14 when we ended the regular season. We won the district and then went on to win the 5 games in the state tournament and finished with a winning record. But we had a losing record when we entered that as well. And I guess District 12 is completely different than any district. It's basically just the Catholic League on one side and the public league on the other side. I mean,
right.
All we have to do is finish ahead of certain schools in the standings that are our classification, and we qualify for the district. So it gives us the opportunity to go out and schedule the way that we do, because in essence, none of those non-league games, they don't matter the result. It just matters that we're getting better. Right. So we can go out and schedule. I mean, if you looked at our schedule, I think we've only played one team that's not in the postseason. And as long as we win those games in the Catholic League that are in essence classification games or finished, we don't even have to win those games, to be honest. We just have to finish ahead of those teams in the standings, and we qualify for the state tournament. And the kids really, they've bought into just getting better. Like, they don't look at the results so much of a game in December. They just look at the process of getting better. And to their credit, we ended the calendar year with 1 win, and they came back ready to play, and they started off the Catholic League season with a win, and they just constantly have gotten better. So we did only have 5 wins as of Friday night, but they're playing hard. Like, they're learning. So yeah, so that's kind of our history this year, I guess.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and I hope you know that I wasn't saying that any way negatively or detrimentally.
No, honestly.
I get it. I understand it. I respect it, and I know what you're up against, throughout the regular season. So thanks for explaining that. Dave Berman, you want to jump in? Dave, your volume, your microphone.
All right, Coach, good to have you on. Here we go. So you really started to turn it around, it looks like, after the Archbishop Wood game when you lost. No. Actually, that was a close game. You lost 46-41 to Wood, beat St. Joe's Prep 67-45. And you know how good they are.
That's a good win there.
West Catholic, you beat them 53-44. Roman, close game, 75-69. Bonner, you were hanging for most of the game, and then they won 64-48, and then beating the District 11 champs, Allentown Central Catholic, up there 68-47. So yeah, tell us about your ball club. Tell us about the team, how deep you go, and your players.
Yeah, honestly, Dave, it really started way back in I guess the Executive game, when we beat Executive, and they have if you walk into their visiting locker room, they got like a banner hanging that says "The road to Hershey starts here," and that was the point where the kids, they really looked at that, and they won a game. And like I said, it's not for us. It's not necessarily about winning games, but they actually believed it. And then we went into the Catholic League season, and our home opener, we beat O'Hara. And then they're like, all right, now these other games matter. And we played LaSalle. We lost in overtime, and then we had some tough games. I don't know if you probably have the judge score up there. I think that was a
80-39
loss. That was 40-point loss. That was a tough one. But then we played Egan. We won Egan in double overtime, and then at that point, it kind of the kids believed that they could win. And beating Egan was like one of those classification games where now the kids are like, all right, we have a chance to actually have a postseason and to play. And the Ryan game, we lost by 4 points, and then we had a tough one against Lansdale and Carroll. But then all of those games after that, they just started to really compete, and they were really, really close games that sometimes the ball didn't bounce our way. But I guess that's kind of how the season transpired. And as far as the kids go, Joe said earlier, we lost 99% of everything from last year. So this year, and we lost 2 of our assistant coaches as well. So we came into this year completely new. And obviously we had kids that were around last year, but they never really stepped foot on a varsity floor. So these kids were playing a really tough schedule with new coaches, new coaching staff, and figuring it out. And we went 13 deep for most of December and into really half of January. And they started to learn what it takes to just compete. And that really is, from a coaching perspective, is huge. When you get kids that compete every day and never give up, then the basketball stuff kind of comes later. And it's still coming, to be honest. Like, these kids still have a long way to go, but they've come a long way. So it's been a fun season, really, as crazy as it sounds, for only having 6 wins.
Well, if you like the people you're working with and around, and in your case, it would be your coach, your assistant coaches, and your players, and that makes all the difference in the world for sure.
It's true, very true.
You guys are having fun and getting something out of the victories, getting a little something out of the losses, and and here we are now. We're where you were hoping to be at this juncture. John Velios.
Coach, welcome. You had a lot of success over the last few years, and with this year only winning 5 games in the regular season, how hard is it to keep the players positive, going into the postseason?
That's a great question. Obviously it's a challenge, but when we joined the Catholic League, whatever that was, 6 or 7 years ago, we really, as a program, took a step back and started to analyze why we do what we do. And before that, it was just about wins. And
right.
We realized that we could want to win all we want. Like, we could say, hey, we got to win, we got to score more points. But at the end of the day, you look down at the opposing team and they have Jalen Durans standing there. And like, no matter what we do, it's going to be really hard to score more points than the other team. So we started to really focus on things we could control. And over the past 7 years, that kind of has grown into what the program is now. And because of that, it really was easy to go through this year with the losses, because we're not focused on the end result. We're focused on the long-term result. And that's
right.
Just getting better. So 7 years ago, I think the team would have crumbled. Kids would have quit. It would have been craziness. But because of that, because of how we changed our philosophy and our approach, it made this year, I don't want to say easy. There obviously are challenges with every year, but it made it a lot easier. And really, I don't say this lightly, it's been one of the most rewarding years of my coaching. It really has, seeing these kids grow and get better and stay connected. And we were practicing in March, and I never thought, that's crazy to say that with a group when you lost so much, but like, we had a meaningful practice today, and that's awesome for these kids. And I'm proud of them, really.
Good. Let's bring in. I forgot to identify who Dan Sostek is. He's the head boys basketball writer for Penn Live Patriot News. Does a whale of a job. Friend of mine, and we always appreciate when you join us. Dan, you want to jump in and ask Coach a question?
Yeah, I got a quick one. Locally here, Bishop McDevitt played you guys last year, and they gave you, at least by the margin, the toughest game you had all year. I'm just wondering, kind of, when you saw them last year, are you surprised that they took a step forward this year, or did you kind of see, even though they have some different players, a new coach, what were your reflections from that game last year? Because
that game last year, that that was a first round game at O'Hara, and they had fight, and they didn't give up. And our last year, our team was kind of pretty good, and it was one of those games afterwards where I just reflect, very similar to what you were saying about Moscow earlier, that I didn't do a good job preparing our guys for that. And they had a freshman guard who was excellent. They had a couple kids that could shoot, and they just kept on playing and playing and playing. So I know they went through some stuff in the off season, but to see where they're at now, I mean, I know you guys are going to talk about the previews and stuff, but I would imagine that's going to be a really good game on Tuesday night when they play Carroll. That was tough. I think the final, it was a 13-point game last year, and you're right, that was the closest game in the entire state playoffs for us, that opening round game against them.
I feel like sometimes that must kind of, you almost kind of need that, right, to jog you in after the week off, right, to kind of get you back into the groove a little bit.
Absolutely. It was one of those games that we lost at the Plesser to Roman last year, and we had time, like it was like 8 or 9 days off, and just coming back, it was like these guys just kind of thought like, all right, now it's the state playoffs, we're just going to coast through these games. And it really was one of those games where you're like, all right, guys, it's like my fault, I didn't prepare you properly, but now let's wake up, let's go back to what we were doing last year. And yeah, you're absolutely right. So to answer your question, I'm not surprised that they're having a great year at all.
They're a lot better this year too, Coach.
Yeah.
just an FYI.
I watch them play. I mean, I've seen the results and see where they're at, and like I said, I think that'll be a really good game against Carroll on Tuesday night.
Right.
Hey, real quick,
Go
good
ahead,
job, Carroll, head coach, keeping these guys together. They suffered a lot of losses, guys transferring out. So give Coach a shout there, Jason.
Yeah, you mean Coach Bo?
Yeah, Bo Francis. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean what he has gone through over the past 2 years has been a lot. Like he lost, I think, 3 of his top guys over the summer, and he got his point guard back. I love his point guard. He's a spectacular player. Ian, kind of keeping all those other guys together. But they've done a great job to kind of come back from losing all those guys. So, like I said, that should be a really good game on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Coach. One more quick one. Sure. Obviously, it's kind of the low-hanging fruit question. I'm sure you get asked a million times, but 10 of 12 teams, boys and girls, to win a title last year were the private schools, right? And I'm just interested from your guys' perspective, and as a coach, are you like an advocate for, hey, we should keep this the same, or are you more, hey, we're just a basketball team, we'll play whatever they say we need to play? And like, I'm just curious how you guys view the constant talk about should we separate public versus private, and how strongly you guys feel either way.
I personally, I'll play wherever they put us, whatever format they want. I've always been an advocate though of I've loved the way, and I don't know if New Jersey still does this, but I've loved the idea of you have different classifications, and the winner of those classifications for public and private enters a tournament and plays. I think that is the way you get a true champion. So you would have, I don't know how it would shake out, but we would be in the private school AAA classification. And if we win that, then you go into an 18 tournament with the public, private. And at that point, if all the privates win, then all the privates win. But I personally would love to see that. I think that I don't know why they don't have that, to be honest. It seems like it's an easy solution, but we'll play wherever they put us. But I think that, like I said, is an easy fix. And you kind of have all your different state champions, and then you have
and you serve both masters, right? You crown a public champion too as well, and it kind of does a little bit of each. So yeah, I like that.
That's a great question, Dan, and you answered it. You posed it in a great way too. It's kind of it's a touchy thing, and we all know that. But my cousin teaches in Camden. She teaches at a school that won a football state championship, a public league or a public football state champion. And she said, we won the state championship. And I said, well, congratulations. That's great. She said, next week we play the private school state champion. I said, well, then you really didn't win. I said, clear this up. She goes, no, we got a state championship. They got a state championship. Yeah. Next week we'll play, and, just to see who's better, basically. But, it's all
about perspective, right? Like I know some of if you gave truth serum to some of the Philly Catholic League teams, I'm sure they'd say they'd take a a Catholic League title over a state title.
Well,
given
it's a great segue because you know what? We're going to finish with this.
I don't even need. I don't even know if you need to give them truth serum. I think some of them would just flat out say that. To be honest.
Yeah.
Well, here was my question. My last question. I said you've won 3 state championships in the last 4 years. Superb. At 2 different classifications. That's a big deal. Means you're the best in the state. But no PCL titles. The PCL title is tough. Okay, really difficult. And you know, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to set you up to have any disrespect for the PIAA here, because we know how important a PCL title is. Would you trade 1 or 2 or all 3 of the state championships for 1 PCL title, Coach?
No, I don't. I don't think I would trade.
Talk about the difference between the 2. I don't know if I like how I asked you that question. Talk about how important each one is on their own merits.
I think the Catholic League is such a tough league, and it prepares us very well for the state tournament. Obviously, we're striving to win all of the championships. Like that's, I guess, at the end of the day, would be the goal. You want to win those championships, but like I said earlier, for us, it's not just about the winning. But when you enter the tournament, obviously we're competitors. I think that to win a Catholic League championship for us, a lot of things will have to fall right and have to be perfectly aligned for us to be able to do that. We're the smallest school in the league. We have 60 kids in a class. Like we don't have a lot of the other advantages, and so it would require a lot of perfect things to happen and line up. We were close last year. Hopefully, we get an opportunity to do it again. But winning a state championship is great. It's an awesome experience for the kids. Their names are hanging in the rafters forever. So I don't think I would trade one for the other. But obviously, we would want to have both.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Your answer bailed me out of that question. As soon as I asked it, I realized I didn't like it, because it is tough to choose one over the other. You know, the Giant Center's not the Palestra. The state championship tournament is not the Catholic League tournament. They're 2 separate.
It's nice to end your season with a win, I imagine. Though.
That's right. That's right.
Very true. Yes. Very true.
Thank you. All right, so that's going to about do it. Unless, Dave, you want to ask one more quick one?
All right, you got Valley View. You're back in your old Scranton area, playing days. Valley View, always tough. Those northeastern PA teams, pain in the butt. They tell us about the game coming up.
We played Valley View last year in the state semifinals, so we're a little bit familiar with them. We've obviously watched film. I'm sure they've watched film there. They're tough. Their coach, actually, he and I went to college together. So he and I are friends. We've known each other for a long time. So we're looking forward to a great matchup. They are, like you said, Dave, they're very, very physical, very tough basketball players. They run really good stuff. So I think it's going to be hopefully it's going to be a really good game on Tuesday night. But we are familiar with them. So it's kind of strange that we're playing them back-to-back years. That usually doesn't happen, but we should be a good game.
Thank you, Coach. 12th year. Thank you, John, for doing the homework. Because I didn't know for sure, and I don't think Coach knew for sure.
I did not, actually.
Okay, we're going to say 12th year head coach, Devon Prep head coach, Jason Fisher, 1 game down in the state championship tournament. I think the next most important thing for you is probably having a good practice tomorrow, right? That's the way it works. We don't have to worry about the game yet, right?
Yep.
Watch some film, good practice tomorrow, and hopefully, one day at a time, 1 game at a time, I'll have a chance to meet you in person here at Giant Center in a couple weeks. So thank you very much for being on. We really appreciate it, Coach.
Oh, nice to meet all of you. Thank you for having me.
Have a great evening.
Bye. You too.
Fellas, that's a basketball coach there. That's as good of an interview as we've had. What do you guys think of that one? Man.
Yeah. So Joe,
John, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you for another question.
They haven't won a PCL title, but he was named PCL Coach of the Year in 2021.
Okay.
As well as PIAA Coach of the Year in 2022.
So if I would have brought you back in for one more question, you would have been able to say that, right?
Right. And also just a few years prior to that, Joe, they were struggling so bad. Let's just say this way. They were struggling so bad that they weren't even keeping track of wins and losses. That's how bad it was.
He kind of alluded to the fact that he kind of had to overhaul the culture. I'm using my words, but I think he did say 7 years ago he never would have gotten them to buy into the mindset that they use today.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, if they keep having success, they're going to have to keep moving up, from 4A, obviously. It's going to be even harder for them with such a small school.
Yeah, 60 in a class, that's about 240 boys, so. Okay, so let's jump into a couple housekeeping items. Last year's finalists who are still alive. This is out of the 12 teams that were in the state championship games. Father Judge, Roman still alive, Newman Goretti, Devon Prep, the aforementioned Devon Prep, West Catholic, Sewickley Academy, Neighborhood Academy, and Sankofa Freedom Academy. Out from last year's finalists, Hershey, who played in the 5A finals, Berks Catholic, who played in the 6A finals, neither won. South Valley
4A.
Correct.
4A. I'm sorry.
Roman Catholic.
What did I say?
Roman Catholic didn't make the tournament, I don't believe.
No, Roman lost to Father Judge in the state championship game.
Yeah, but I don't believe they made the tournament.
Wait a second.
This year?
Oh, no. I meant out from last year, from who was in the finals last year.
Okay. Yeah. I'm saying.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying that they were in the tournament last year and they're out.
Yeah.
I forgot. I should have said they did not qualify. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were saying which teams are still alive.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. So Berks is out. South Allegheny in 3A is out. And then Linville Hill from last year did not qualify. So, yeah, the two that did not qualify would be Roman Catholic. Thank you, Dan. And Linville Hill. So, most of last year's champions are still alive, all but Linville Hill, Father Judge, Newman Goretti, Devon Prep, West Catholic, and Neighborhood Academy. And here are the let's jump into this here. I like to show. These are the mid-pen teams still alive, and I don't think we would have bet too much money that the second one from the left would be in here. And I'm saying this with a smile on my face because I'm happy about it. And we're gonna use Dan Sostek to talk a little bit about the big Chambersburg win over Coatesville. But that's Central Dauphin, Chambersburg, Bishop McDevitt, and Trinity. And I want to mention this, and I'm not going to ask anybody to even comment unless you want to. But I'm watching the game yesterday, and man, I just kind of felt for. I really very much felt for the Coatesville players and coaches. About 2 minutes to go in the game, and they're only down 4, and a Chambersburg player goes to the line. Okay, Chambersburg's up 4. They have a chance to extend the lead to 6, and fans started pouring. I mean, like pouring out of the gym. When I say pouring, I mean just filing out down the steps while the game's going on. And I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
It was a packed house. I really noticed it more when it was a 6-point game with around 55 seconds left. And
it got worse after he made the shots. It wasn't as bad.
Which it still wasn't great because it might have been 6 or 7 points, but then it's like you hit a 3 and then it's a 4-point game with 50 seconds left. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty tight gym. So I don't know if some people were worried about beating the traffic or whatever. But,
right.
I mean, it was a great game. And yeah, I remember thinking, I was like, that's weird that they're leaving. But I will say there was a point in the game where it felt like, I don't know, I think Coatesville had kind of had its last gasp. And sometimes you can kind of feel that in the gym. You're like, this game's over. Even when the score doesn't indicate it.
Let's kind of lead with that game. Let's talk about that game. Then we'll get into some of the other ones.
Yeah. So I went down there for it. Obviously the big name's Colton Hiller, right? And Chambersburg. You know, if you had this matchup last year, you'd say JJ Kelly versus Colton Hiller. That's appointment viewing, right? But JJ Kelly's graduated. Chambersburg's has a lot of experience. I think that was their big ally was Colton Corwell, Landon Berman, and Grayson Kirgaris are experienced seniors on that team. And they have, for my money, one of the best coaches in the entire state in Sean Treffler. I don't know. I don't think, I mean, year after year, it doesn't matter who's on that roster. They get the most out of every single team. And so I was telling people, I think this game will be closer than expected, but I wasn't expecting Chambers to win. But you could tell early in the game they had a great plan on Hiller. Hiller's this is my second time seeing Hiller. First time as a starter. Last year, Cumberland Valley lost to them at the buzzer
in Reading.
In Reading. But Hiller's 6'7", and it's not like he's this athlete that jumps out of the building, but he moves so well for that size, and he's such a tough cover. But they did a great job sending two of them. Landon Berman did a fabulous job. Seth Gilliam did a really great job off the bench for them. Hiller had a brace on his finger that I believe he injured against Plymouth Whitemarsh. So that could have explained a little bit because he had 24 points, but he was pretty inefficient as a shooter. I believe I kind of lost track towards the end of the game because so much was going on, but I think I had him at like 7 for 24 or something. But they just did a great job. Grayson Kagaris, who was on Chambersburg his freshman and sophomore year, left his junior year, came back his senior year, was terrific. Colton Cornwell, who's a guy that I was telling people, if you just look at his stats, you're not going to see an all-state player. But, when I write up the bios for all-state voting, I'm going to have to do a good job explaining it because that kid's as important to his team as anybody in 6A. He did a great job defensively and setting stuff up. They just
and he fouled out. He fouled out.
A
couple minutes to go. There was still game left. There was still
huge.
Significant, important game left.
I thought that was going to be the death knell for James.
Yeah, me too.
Because the thing that he does really well is he makes those little passes when there's doubles or when there's when they're swarming or when there's a tough zone defense. Like he just finds a way to loosen the pressure of the defense on that team. And without him, I didn't know if the James were going to be able to handle it. But that is where you see the benefit of having a coach like Sean Treffler, right? That is ready for those moments. He said that was the first time all year that Colton wasn't on the court to end the game, and they handled it well. They hit free throws. Angelo Anamostico hit a bunch of big free throws off the bench for them.
And what I saw down the stretch, let's just say over the last 2 to 4 minutes, is they protected the ball well. Did Chambersburg? They took smart shots. Most almost seemed like always in the paint.
Well, that is how they won the game. Is I told people it's like when they scored, it was never wow, what a tough shot. It was they generated a really good look off of great ball movement.
Patience.
Yeah. It was just it really was just a game of fundamentals. And you hate boiling it down to that because it sounds like you're dissing Coatesville, and I'm not doing that at all. But if Chambers was going to win this game, it's going to have to be kind of execution. When you're going against that, I mean, they did a great job on Larry Brown, who's a terrific player as well.
Then they made free throws. Yeah. I think Brown fouled out too a little bit before the Chambersburg Cornwell did, but and Chambersburg made free throws. And
that's been a matchup that they've had a lot. I mean, we talked about it before the show. Two kids on that team, Landon Berman and Grayson Kagaris, their dads were on the team with Chambersburg star Eric Bender when Chambersburg ended Rip Hamilton's high school career at Coatesville in the state playoffs. So,
and I was there, as you guys saw. I posted the picture of me and Rip after the game, and I was covering for the good old Mid Atlantic Sports News.
Stick with us here, Dave. I want to ask you an important question. What was you're a Coatesville guy. There's a handful of high schools that you kind of really follow and you do public address and all that. So Coatesville really well. The school, the sports programs. What were the expectations for Coatesville? Did this kind of feel like? Yeah, I kind of felt like it was that this year.
There's so many seniors. They got Colton back and his brother. Some other guys, but this was supposed to be the year 25th anniversary of their last District 1 and PIAA state championship. They've only won one PIAA state title in their history, which is incredible.
It's not bad though. Just winning one. It's pretty darn good. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but when you're a big school like that, and you're just going up against so many good teams,
I guess it was spoiled. Yeah, spoiled because Chester's won 8 PIAA state titles and 10 PIAA state.
Well, Chester's Chester, man. It's just.
But this was a win that kind of showcased District 3 6A. This was a good week for District 3 6A. You had Chambersburg win. You had Central Dauphin win. Central York win. I believe York High won.
York High won, yeah.
I mean, it was a really good week for the 6A school. I think Cedar Cliff lost, but Cedar Cliff battled.
Red line.
Yeah, but Cedar Cliff even battled to get there. But we've talked about all the time, that top of 6A in District 3 is no joke. And it was good to see that, going against the team, Chambersburg, a team that finished 5th. I imagine, I don't know if this is fair or not, but I imagine a lot of the Coatesville and District 1 fans looked at the bracket and saw District 3-5 and thought this was going to be
a 16 and 17 or 16 and 7 team, something like that. Yeah.
Well, and
18-7.
Treffler gave me a good, and the kids were all, they openly said, we knew no one gave us a chance to win this game. And Treffler said their first practice for this game, he looked them all in the eye and said, who do you think is the underdog between these two teams, us or them? And everyone in unison said us. And they said that's how they like it. So, I mean, it's easy to say that after you win a game, right? And
right.
You probably do that when you lose a game too. But they played like they had nothing to lose, but didn't play recklessly like that. They just played their game. And it was, I mean, who knows with the way high school basketball is, you don't know if that was Colton Hiller's last game at Coatesville. Like, I know schools have to have been after him since the day he stepped on a high school basketball court.
Yeah, they are. And the good news is at least Harrisburg football, Coatesville football got a big transfer from Harrisburg. Mm-hmm. So his brother will stay because this is like this quarterback. They are all fired up in Coatesville for this new quarterback coming in. So Hiller's the brother's going to stay. So the brothers will stay. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's
so we think the world of Schreffler as a coach. John, you and I have been talking about him for years, and he was on the show last year, and he was another one of those coaches that we got done with the interview. We were like, wow, that's a basketball coach there. And it was kind of not bizarre, but and not unexpected. But I got 3 different texts coming in, and you were one of them, Dan, I believe. Yeah, you were definitely one of them. Then I was on with another group of guys, and it kept being like Schreffler this and Schreffler that, and he's the man, and if anybody's going to win it. And I just want to mention one thing. Those kids still had to go out and execute.
I mean, he would be the first.
In a really, really loud, I don't want to call the gym hostile because, it is what it is. It's a loud high school gym. But it's on the road playing at one of the best teams in the state, and the players executed, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, the couple kids from that game that you give, Kagaris was the leading scorer with 18 points, hit a bunch of threes. He's got a sweet stroke. He's a really good player. Berman I mentioned, and Cornwell I mentioned. The other kind of unsung hero is Malachi Duhaney, who I know people in Chambersburg are high on. He's kind of raw. He's more of a big, more of a forward. He had 2 key plays at the end when they were up, when Coatesville cut the lead to 2. He hits a layup to put them up 4, and then Hiller drives right at him, and he goes vertical and gets the stop and gets the rebound. And I think that might be when people started filing out, was after that play. But they got a lot of production from the guys on the bench too. He's never afraid to put the reserve there. They've never been a team where you just play 5 players and that's it. The Chambersburg has always used its bench, and he's always, hasn't been afraid to do it. They've done this recently too. They went down to Plymouth Whitemarsh a few years when no one was giving them a chance against I don't think it was quite the team that this Coatesville team was hyped up to, but it was a really good Plymouth Whitemarsh team.
Oh, it was.
And he's made a career out of this, really.
But I think the difference is that Chambersburg team had a guy like JJ Kelly who had that athletic profile that you're like, well,
a couple really good shooters too, really like darts, sharpshooters.
This team had a lot of senior experience, but they didn't have that superstar player like JJ Kelly as kind of that, hey, if he goes off, where they really had to do it through the aggregate. And it was a credit to all those kids. They really just played smart basketball.
Yep.
How about the 2017 first round of the states? Don Ross, head coach, Central Dauphin East, went to Abington, upset the Abington Galloping Ghost, who were absolutely insanely loaded. Dan, were you there?
I was actually, that was my first year at the Chambersburg Public Opinion. So that was when I was only covering Franklin County.
All over. Awesome.
Yeah.
So District 3, I'm just kind of back it up. We're not going to sit on this too long. District 3 went 15 and 17. That's not bad. It's close to 500. But there some of the teams that we really all probably thought were going to move on didn't. Berks Catholic being one of them. Mid-Penn went 4-4. They had 8 teams in, went 4-4. How much, guys, all of you, and John, you can jump in. You haven't been in a while, and you and I have been discussing this. how much depends on draws? I mean,
Well,
there's good draws.
look at Central Dolphins. Look at Central Dolphins draw now. Now the way the bracket is shaken, I think. I mean, you never want to get ahead of yourself, right? I mean, every game's tough in the States, but if you look at their where they are now, it's like they saw Souderton knocks out Archbishop Wood, who I think was a favorite in the 6A class, and then obviously Chambersburg gets rid of Coatesville in that on that side of the bracket too. Central Dauphin, all of a sudden they've got a really good draw and they avoid a team like Emotep and Father Judge and Plymouth Whitemarsh on their side. And you got to think that Central Dauphin has some confidence that if they didn't already, that they can really make a run now.
Let me ask you this though, anybody, and let me tell you what Souderton did to beat Wood. They beat Wood 68-66. It was like a long ball show for Souderton. They were 15 of 29 from three, so almost 50%. 10 in the first half. Senior Marquez Brown was 7 of 10 on his own, and he finished with 25 points. If they execute like that against Central Dauphin, Central Dauphin is going to have a hard time beating them. Should Central Dauphin win the game? If you look at the resumes and the seedings and all that, probably so. But I say it all the time till my friends probably get tired of it. If the other team's making shots all night, you're probably not going to beat them.
Yeah, that wasn't meant as any sort of disrespect. It's just like if you
I know it wasn't.
If you went at the start of the tournament and were like,
absolutely,
you don't want to play a team like Archbishop Wood just because
you'd rather play Souderton every day of the week.
Yeah, but you wouldn't rather play Souderton if they're playing like they did on Saturday.
No, nobody wants to play a team that makes 15 threes. I mean,
but it's
quotes John Moscow.
What's that? He said he didn't have his guys ready.
This is a city of basketball love. We did not come ready to play. That's my fault. We did not guard anybody the entire game. They had 15 threes. When your leaders don't come to play, they wait to turn it on until the fourth quarter. It's hard to come back against a good team when you're on the road.
That's rough. That's
I mean, Joe, CD definitely has an advantage now. Like Dan was saying, they got a much easier path because now they're going to be able to watch that game against Souderton and defend like Archbishop couldn't defend.
Yeah, great point, John.
Yeah, and to that point also, I think Archbishop Wood was down 2 starters, right, that weren't eligible in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that can make a difference.
Oh, I didn't know
my
that.
God.
They got hammered.
Dave, we rely on you for that information.
I didn't know about that.
I mean, half the time you just find out when the game starts, right? You see that they're not even
ready.
Right.
Starters.
So let's segue into the Central Dauphin game. I was there. Central Dauphin 64, Pennsbury 45. It was closer than that. It was a typical Central Dauphin game, and they played hard from out of the gate. I'm not saying they ever kind of play on third gear rather than fourth gear or whatever, but they kind of open it up at the end. That's their calling card, Dan. You know that. You know how they play, but they got up 8-0. They were up 12 early. I mean, really early. Like in the first 2 or 3 minutes, they were up like 15-3 or something like that. Pennsbury ended up tying it up. I think end of the first half, maybe the beginning of the third quarter, and then Central Dauphin went up 20. I mean, it's just bizarre because Central Dauphin, they ebb and they flow so much. I mean, you and I were at that game down in and they ebb and they flow offensively and defensively. It's
because I think it's because they're a team that plays. They try to get out. When they're playing fast and they're using their athleticism and length, that can really speed up the game sometimes. And then when they slow down, I think sometimes it gets a little funky. And I think the only time I think Central Dauphin is really kind of at a lull is when they're settling for too many jump shots and not kind of taking full advantage of just how athletic that group is. And,
right.
It's so fun to watch Shakur and Jelani Easter and D'Olimpio just get to the rim. They're such good drivers. And then Khalil Roberts, who has just been, I think
he had a great game yesterday.
I don't know if improved is the right word, but maybe most underrated player. He earned first team honors from the coaches. And I was happy to see that from the Mid-Penn Commonwealth, because that kid is as important to that Central Dauphin team as anybody, even though he might not be as big of a name as some of the other kids.
I mean, let's also mention too how
Go ahead,
how important it was that Jared DeLimpio was declared eligible for the postseason.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's a big factor also.
Huge.
Because without him, it might feel like they'd be a player short from
Whole different aspect or element.
a player short from being that championship level. Like
Right.
you need
Right.
so many bullets in your chamber, right, to win at 6A.
Right.
You can't just go in with a couple players.
And these other kids come in before the season and they're ineligible. Just ridiculous.
Well, Dave,
anyway,
this is a different kind of scenario. We could talk about it.
It's whatever. It's bull crap. Anyway, comparing scores, Pennsbury lost at Souderton 65-47, whatever if that means anything.
Sure, it means something. Good point there, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, CD got a great draw playing against Pennsbury. No disrespect to Pennsbury, but Center Dolphins should have got a great draw. They won district.
But it doesn't always work. Like, look at Berks Catholic and Bishop McDevitt. Like, you could argue McDevitt got a better draw coming in second place. The matchups make it. I wasn't at this Central Dauphin game. It sounded like a big development. Was how Shaheem Starling played.
He played really well. I mean, I think he's the best defensive player on that team. And it's easy to argue against that because Jelani Easter plays great defense. Khalil Robertson, they all play great defense. But, man, what he brings, what Shaheem Starling brings, he's a freshman. And he's kind of offensively, sometimes they need him, sometimes they don't. Sometimes he steps up and scores a little bit. Sometimes he doesn't. But defensively, man, he is so quick and so long.
Yeah. I mean, I think that will be a game changer as well. As if it's hard to kind of ask a freshman in that 6A bracket to give you consistent play when you're playing that level of competition. If he's going to be able to do that, they're going to be really tough to beat.
Nothing bothers him.
Yeah.
He's not feeling it, I don't think. He doesn't look like
that's what happens when you're the youngest brother, when you're playing against guys like Shakur and, obviously I think their dad probably got them ready for it too. They've probably been to a ton of more big games than anyone can count just with him watching all those.
I was just going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. They have been living basketball since they had birth.
Right. Yeah. Probably tag along at every single PCL and state game. I imagine Big Star got them ready for this moment.
The good news for Central Dauphin, and it's not always this way, John, you know this, is they made lots of threes yesterday and like contested threes. I mean, that team Pennsbury was playing good defense, they made lots of threes and they had lots of dunks. And I'm not one of those guys that's like blown away by dunks, but they're always fun to watch when you're in the gym and everybody, the student section's going crazy. It was a typical Central Dauphin game with DeLimpio making threes, Shakur Starling making threes. Just everybody contributed, the bench players, but it's going to get, it's going to click up a notch here against Souderton for sure. It should. I can't imagine that it's not going to be a little tougher.
At Hamburg High School, I'll be there.
Hamburg High School, yeah. So we're going to back up now, guys, and we'll kind of touch on. I know we don't do too much on the 1As and the 2As, but let's just mention here that a lot of the 1A District 3 1A schools survived. High Point Baptist, Coventry Christian, York Country Day, Conestoga Christian all survived. And Dan, do you know anything? I mean, we just sit here week after week, and I say this again with respect to the 1As, we just don't really follow it a whole lot. Do we have a chance to go deep with any of these schools? Do you know?
We don't cover them too closely because
it's tough. It's just a whole different. It's like a different culture of basketball, and it's
they're big in like the Lancaster area's got a lot of them. York has a lot of them.
Correct.
The Harrisburg area doesn't really have a lot of these 1A schools that are
There's two schools. They have Harrisburg Christian and the one right across in Lemoyne there. Harrisburg Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that's what we'll do. We just recognize them. Well done to High Point Baptist, Coventry Christian, York Country Day, and Conestoga Christian for moving on there. 2A, I think we only had 3 from our district that qualify, or 2. DeLone Catholic won, and York Catholic lost to Paul Robeson. I'd never even heard of Paul. I figured right away, Dave, you probably know who they are. They're a Philly Public League school, Paul Robeson.
Yeah.
And
they're the second seed out of District 12, Joe.
Yeah.
So 20-6 record, similar to York Catholic at 20-4.
Yeah.
I imagine they're very good.
Yeah.
Let me scores here.
What are you going to do? Some
Oh,
2A,
yeah.
Dave?
Wow.
Our friend Coach Moore from Constitution got a W.
Yeah, saw that.
Beat Church Farm School.
Yeah, I know. Corrente, Coach Corrente, great guy. I was pulling for Church Farm.
Church Farm.
Yeah.
I thought I was
I've never heard of that school.
closely connected to all this. I've never heard so much.
Exton, right outside of.
I'm familiar.
You know where that is. Yeah. So, they're in the Chester Charters League, so I've seen them over the years a lot.
There's a
You're
regional
looking at
in Exton,
looking
Dave.
at Robeson. I'm trying to think of
Who is Paul Robeson? Who's
He's an actor, a singer, a former NFL player. He's like a Renaissance man.
Damn, that's the man. Dan, I never asked myself, why do we bring him on after the shows?
I think he's always a crossword puzzle clue. But
Joe, do you have any scores on Sewickley Academy and Jeanette?
That's, you know what? Very great question there. Well, they both moved on. We know that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go to 2A here. And yeah, that's important. We want to see those two meet again. Sewickley Academy 65-25 over District 10 Sagertown.
Yeah.
And let's see here.
Jeanette must have beat Northern Cambria.
Yeah, they beat Northern Cambria 72-34. So they are on hopefully a collision course, and we talked about that last week. Dan, you're probably familiar with that situation where the Jeanette player made a comment about going up against Sewickley, and
well, I mean, I just thought it was funny that people were getting mad at saying that there was no. If you watched what that kid said, he like ragged on his team for a long. He said how awful they played, and like they were. I mean, I was like,
I loved it.
I think as long as you say that, as long as you're like, we played terribly, like I think you can say whatever you want after that.
Dan, to me, it didn't even come across like he was complaining about.
No, I think he just said we're going to get him next time.
I loved it. I said that guy goes right to the Hall of Fame.
I'm never going to tell people to give less interesting answers as a
right.
Guy, so it's like, yeah.
Terrell Pryor's alma mater.
Absolutely.
He played basketball for them. Yeah.
I saw him play basketball. They got their state championship up in State College. The same weekend that Steel High beat Susquehanna Township and Central Dauphin girls beat Mount Lebanon in 2008.
That's one of as a Pitt grad.
An unbelievable game, 2008. Yep, then Jeanette won it all 2008. Yep.
Yeah, as a Pitt grad, that's one of our biggest what ifs is he was committed to play basketball at Pitt, and then turns out you get a little more money playing football at Ohio State.
He was a top 50 basketball player in the country as a senior, and a top 5, 10. I mean, it was way up close to 1 for.
Got to be up there with the best athletes in
right. So we have Trinity moved on by virtue of a big blowout win against River Valley out of District 6, and Lancaster Catholic lost to West Catholic. No surprise there. I don't think it's one of Lancaster Catholic's better teams. Lancaster Mennonite 34-30 over Lansdale Catholic. That's two pretty blue blood boys basketball schools meeting up in the opening round there. So we're down to, let's see, 1, 2, only
this
one.
Trinity team's interesting. I can't get a full read on it, and I've talked to Larry Koslick about it. He said, when they play, it sounds stupid, but when they play well, they're really hard to beat. but there's still, there's still some times when things don't look great. I think on Saturday everything went well for them. So
that was Dre Steele. I like him.
Yeah, and Marcus Yeager is obviously a great athlete too.
And then Nike Craig, and Marcus Yeager. He is a football player that plays basketball, and I've gotten in trouble like referring to people that way, but he's a really good basketball player too.
And then Liam Sexton's been playing a lot for them. He's a baseball player actually.
Right.
He's committed to pitch. I believe Cuts-Down. I have to double check, but
okay. So let me interrupt here. Tom Taylor, thank you, Tom, for watching us tonight, for tuning in. He said Wood had their 6 leading scorers for the game. Their seventh didn't score, don't know if he played. So what he's saying is if they did lose any players because of the postseason ineligibility, it wasn't any of their top players. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, that's important. That's important that we – sorry I didn't have a chance to throw that in while we were talking about these.
Guy to know, absolute legend, old school. He's been around basketball 60 years.
So yeah, if Wood, I'm sure Wood probably did have a couple guys ineligible, but it wasn't any of their top players. Kirby Lentz said, "Ask Dan Sostek what he thinks CD's chances are to make a run at a championship." Well, you kind of addressed that. You said it got a little bit easier, maybe, and that you think they're kind of built for.
I think that they have, like, because when you look at making a run in 6A, there is like a prerequisite of some level of athleticism and length, and that I think you need to get all the way to the end there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Even that Central York team had a kid like Gage Gittinger who ends up going Division I. But I mean, I think the bracket's setting up really well for them to have a shot. They've got experience. I think that Father Judge team on the other side of the bracket is really good, and I think that Emotep team is really good. I think if they get there, it's going to be a real big challenge if they get one of those two.
Right.
That Father Judge program, I was looking back because Kavere Kennedy, who was their best player last year.
Oh, he was fabulous. So good.
I mean, he's been even better at Merrimack this year.
Oh, my.
I imagine he will be playing at a Power 4 school next year.
You and I sat together next to one another last year, Dan, and watched him play, and he was just so impressive.
Yeah, and but they've replaced. He said last year. I was looking back at the article I wrote from that game. He said we're going to take over the city, and it looks like they're if they're not doing that, they're pretty darn close. I mean, obviously they lost to Emotep, but they're Derek Morton Rivera is an outstanding player as well, and that Emotep team is loaded. So if Central Dauphin it's still a big if because you still got to beat Sourton this week. You might get Central Catholic, who's always really good, or I mean, how fun would it be to get a Central Dauphin Chambersburg state playoff game? That would be
even if they beat Sourton, they probably will end up playing Newcastle, who's
really good.
One of the top teams on that
really
side
good.
of the bracket.
Yeah,
they're really good.
But I mean, in terms of, I have to imagine this is one of the best chances Central Dauphin has had to make a run in states, maybe ever.
Well, they had a great opportunity in 2012, but Dave, you tell the viewers who they ran into that year.
Undefeated Chester, Rondé, Hollis, Jefferson.
There we go.
who beat my high school.
Right.
They beat my Wissahickon Trojans in the opening round, I believe.
Yeah. So
that was my senior year of high school.
Watch out for that, man. Nice program. Very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is that year they had that roadblock in the bracket. This year, there's no obvious roadblock of, you're running into a absolute buzzsaw on your side.
Right.
Well, Father Judge, I did their game yesterday. I was PA announcer. Yeah, Rocco Westfield looks good. The 6'8" kid, Jeremiah Edijai.
Mm-hmm.
Another 6'7" sophomore came off the bench. They have a couple freshmen that are 6'5", 6'6". They came into the game. Max Moshinsky, Division I. Derek Morton Rivera. Again, first half kind of, just taking it easy a little bit. The second half, he just turned it on. And, Father Judge, it'll be and Chris Rowntree, loved having him on the show last year. So
he was a great guest. Yeah. I've been telling you all year, Dave, with my limited knowledge, and I mean that. Remember, Dave and I talk a lot on the phone and stuff. And I said to you like a month and a half ago, like they got out of the gate with, again, I don't know if they were playing poorly, they just had a bad record. Judge, I'm talking. I said, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. And here they are,
So which game, Dan, you going to be at Tuesday?
Tuesday, I will be at the McDevitt game.
Okay.
So, yeah, McDevitt.
Don Baker.
Yep.
So how about the 5A boys out of District 3? And we can talk about anybody. It doesn't have to be District 3, but we're in this. They went 3-6.
Octorara, baby.
Yeah, we get 9. We get 9 teams in the tournament. And the winners are Octorara, Coach Gene Lambert. Congratulations, Coach Lambert, and your guys.
Program history 25 in a season.
West York over Ringgold by 7.
They were down early in that game.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were struggling early.
And then Cook Calico I say that like I'm shocked, but they won by 3 over Hampton. And I haven't seen Cocalico, but congratulations to them as well. But I like that West York team, Dan. You and I again we sat together for that one too. I just thought this is how basketball was meant to be played when they took it to Milton Hershey. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but
I was at the Hershey game. Hershey falling to I'm blanking on who they fell to.
Moon.
I was joking that I still want a Hershey versus Mars game. Just but
John Calipari's alma mater.
Yep, and Cam Johnson. But the Hershey game, it was one of those games where they were sort of in it, but they fell behind early and they kept getting close, but trailed the entire game. Got it down to 2 like 5 or 6 times, but just weren't able to. I talked to Paul Blackburn after and just kind of had him reflect on Cam Sweeney, whose career ended there. Just want to give him a shout out because that's just a kid who I don't think a lot of people outside of Central PA probably didn't get a ton of chances to watch him play, but he's such a fun player he was such a fun player to watch. Hershey's all-time scorer now. Going to do a prep year with Larry Brown at McDuffie.
Yeah,
that'll be fun to watch. But Paul just said, how fun it was to coach him, that he coached him since he was this young. There were pictures of him at Paul Blackburn's basketball camp when they were little, to become the all-time scorer and Penn Live Player of the Year and get Hershey to a state title game where they could have won that game last year too. I'm sure that's going to stick with them for a little bit, but he had a heck of a career. Was an awesome football player too. And I don't think that'll be the last. He said, it's a matter of time before he's in that Hershey Hall of Fame. So,
Dan, talk to us for a minute about why some kids choose to go the prep route after they graduate.
Yeah, I imagine sometimes it's grades. I'm not saying that it is for Cam or not. Sometimes it's, hey, I didn't get the offers I necessarily liked.
Okay.
In school, and rather than go to a kind of get in the circuit of going to a D2 or school or something like that, you might have a better chance of just going to a prep school and getting noticed that way again. Because
get more looks and a better.
What do you know about McDuffie?
At a better college.
Rhode Island? Is it in Rhode Island?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I know that him and Larry Brown have played together before too. So I think that's I think they're AAU teammates or whatever, or something. So that probably helps as well. But I mean, sometimes you see it. Like in Sean Lee Jr.'s case, he went to Milford after he was there, declared ineligible. But that was obviously a much different situation.
Different situation there. But like you said, though, there are multiple different scenarios which would sometimes, I don't think it's in Cam Sweeney's case, that sometimes the player just wants to develop physically. And then that falls in line with what you said. Then they can get more offers or better offers once they do, once they get bigger and stronger. And so anyway, thank you to Cam Sweeney. I don't know, I'm sure he's not watching, but maybe his father is. But just for allowing us as members of the media and people that have covered him in both sports to be able to really enjoy doing so. I mean, I love watching him in football too. I mean, he could have played like any position on the field. He was one of those kind of
generation.
Oh, he's generational, Dave. Yep. We use that loosely. We use that too loosely.
That's what Paul called him.
Good. Well done, Dave. Yeah, he's a generational athlete. There's no doubt about that. So let's move into. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about Cam Sweeney. Let's move into 6A. We did discuss.
I think you skipped 4A completely.
I did skip 4A. Thank you. John,
Look
what would I do with that?
Listen, John Velios.
I have the opportunity to say this every week at least once, and I mean it. I'm not joking. Thank God I have John on this show because every week he pulls me up on something or he corrects me on something. So thank you, John. 4A went 1-4. McDevitt, the only winner. In District 3, the District 3 6A teams that did not win are Wyomissing, Schuylkill Valley, Berks Catholic, and Big Spring. So expect to see Big Spring back with Sally, just a sophomore this year, and they're going to be moving to York Adams, which is kind of not really related to this. But Yeah, I think we have a team, guys, in McDevitt that could probably really vie for a state championship.
Yeah.
McDevitt's got a tough matchup here with Archbishop Carroll, the number 1 seed out of District 12. Now, I'll tell you this, the last time they met was probably in 2020.
Well, your son was on that team, right? That McDevitt
yes.
team. Yep.
And McDevitt beat Archbishop Carroll to get into the final 8, and then COVID shut down the whole season. So, that was, I mean, McDevitt could have, gotten into the
Who knows?
final
Yeah.
4.
Right.
I mean, they had a great year. I mean, they
Yeah.
finished in the final 8.
Won the district championship. I believe they beat Lancaster Catholic that year, if I'm not mistaken, in the district
They might have,
championship.
I think they lost that year.
Okay.
They won
all
the
right.
year before.
All right.
Yeah. I think they lost to Lancaster Catholic that year
Okay.
in district.
All right.
But, Archbishop Carroll at that time had, I think it was 2 D1 recruits,
Who would
really
that
tall
have been,
kids.
Dave Berman? Who would that have
And,
been 6 years ago? Carroll.
yeah, in 2020. And McDevitt won, with
Yeah, can't remember.
Coach Gaffey, and he had his players. I think Jake Kelly was one of their top
Yeah.
players, and a few other guys.
And
But
they just have a lot of talent. I know. I don't think. I know.
they have a good shot at
Yeah.
beating Archbishop Carroll this year
Yeah.
again. So
For sure. For sure. Who else, Dan, in the field, or Dave, either of you that we like in that field? We know that Berks Catholic lost, and we like them as a team that could have gone all the way. So we got Carroll, we got McDevitt, definitely Devon Prep, and not just because we had Coach Jason Fisher on it. He's like he said, these guys are ready at the right time, and
I think Obama Academy's pretty good as well.
they beat Warren.
Yeah, I think so.
Out of District 10.
I've heard good things about Obama
Oh,
Academy.
Cathedral Prep.
Yeah.
I've heard great things about. Dave, have you heard anything about
Erie Prep.
Yeah.
They're up there. They have a shot to win it all.
Yeah. And then you got to kind of count this Carver team in,
probably
Carver.
West Philly too,
Robert
Joe.
lost the game, would he even be in?
Engineering and science, Carver ENS.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely West Philly too. They're the defending champs.
so they're done. So
Ooh, West Philly?
yeah, they got upset by this.
By
How'd they
Salisbury. They lost
Yep.
to Salisbury?
Yeah, a bunch
Dave's
of
right. Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're probably not going to repeat.
I saw the video.
Joe, did they win in 3A last year?
Huh?
How did
Yes, they did win in 3A because Devon Prep won in 4A.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
good. There we go.
Won it last year, 3A.
Who?
West Catholic.
Oh, we're talking about West Philly here, right?
Yeah, so they haven't won a
Oh,
state
West
championship.
Catholic, the Burrs.
No, the Burrs.
The Burrs,
Adrian Burrs all played this year. Thought they just play and they beat Chester.
I am taking full responsibility for this derailment, by the way, guys. This is on me. This is on me. This confusion is all on me. Okay, so
Salisbury came in, they did 11, and a bunch of they slowed the game down and played good D. And West Philly didn't bring it. And sadly, their season is over. I was pulling for West Philly.
So I will take this opportunity to thank and wish Coach Snip Esterly from Berks Catholic a good off season, and congratulations once again on a district championship and a Berks County championship. So all wasn't lost for them. I'm sure they wanted to get a little further than this, but still a really good season. And wish Jason Creek and his guys well as they move on to the York Adams League. Okay, I don't think I skipped anything else. Are we ready for 6A? We're going down the home stretch here. We mentioned already that Central Dauphin beat Pennsbury, Chambersburg beat Coatesville. The ones we didn't mention, and let's kind of tip our caps to York William Penn. They beat Pocono Mountain East 80-69. York William Penn's kind of on a pretty good trajectory here. Dan, I didn't know. I follow York County basketball. I have a friend that coaches, an assistant coach down there, and I don't know if I thought that they were going to be this good at this stage. They went toe to toe with Central Dauphin. I think they lost in the championship game of the York County tournament against York Suburban, but they've won a lot of games, and they have themselves in a nice position. at this point now they play Imhotep. Okay, but the nice position is that they won a game in states. Nice position versus where they might have been a month ago. That's what I'm saying. What do you think of this York team?
Well, I mean, it's basically the benefit of having a guy like Barnes, right? It's like even if when you have someone like that, it just demands so much. It's beyond just like how many points they score in a game. It's about how much attention, like practice, you have to kind of pay to them, how much attention you have to pay in game to them. And that opens things up. And they're just an athletic team. They can get out. Like sometimes, again, I think it's a case of people you look at the District 3 6A, and maybe people are kind of sleeping on how loaded it was at the top there.
Yeah. So they were one of the teams that gave Central Dauphin fits. McDevitt, York, and Central York all gave Central Dauphin fits. And, Central Dauphin came out on top of all three of them. But I like York. I like the Shields. He's 6'7" or 6'8", and he's a good player, too. He's not just a big body. We wish him well. Again, Imhotep might be the best team. There's a good chance they're the best team. So, yeah, John, I did kind of misstate that they're in a good position. But I kind of meant like, win or lose, really nice season.
Yeah, just winning a game in states is a great accomplishment for our District 3 teams.
I had that written down, like talking about, and that's why I was hoping to have Coach Sabercool on tonight. He's got a team banquet, but there's a lot of coaches that really did well, won league championships and this championship, and won 20 games and 25, and they've never won a game in the state championship tournament. So yeah, it is a big deal, John. That's a great point. So Central York over Cheltenham. By 5.
Cheltenham.
That okay? That's right. You did mention that. Billy White Shoes Johnson and Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
Is that right?
Billy White Shoes went to Chichester.
Chichester. So, but Reggie went to Cheltenham. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for correcting me.
She'll be devastated to learn that they lost. I don't think she has any idea.
Don't let her know. Just out of sight, out of mind.
Still got Galloping there.
What's that?
We got the Galloping Ghosts.
Yeah, that's a great nickname. Great nickname there. So, Central York's good. They could have easily beat Central Dauphin. And I'm not saying that, the Central Dauphin's the ultimate comparison, but they're pretty darn good, Central Dauphin. And Central York went toe-to-toe with them. I'm going to repeat the same theme. You and I sat together and watched that game, Dan, again. And you saw how good they still are without Brooklyn Nace. I mean, if they had Brooklyn Nace, they'd be trouble, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
My gosh. And Coach Hoke just has done a fabulous job. And so that's right. Coach Hoke wants to come on the show too.
So Central York is going to play.
I invited him. He said he would, I should say.
Central York's playing Father Judge, and York William Penn is playing Imhotep. How about those two matchups? And they're a double header at the same location.
At Geigel, Reading, right? Yeah.
So you're going to have possibly the top two teams in 6A, some people's opinion, playing Central York and York William Penn on the same night.
Yep, York. It's a York versus Philly doubleheader.
Yeah, how about that?
A lot of York teams still alive. Good year in basketball for York too.
And on the girls' side.
Yeah.
Really? Well, they have really good basketball right now. York County,
Yeah, and add in a Big Spring team next year who is you kind of glossed over, but that Big Spring team is going to be really good in the next few years because everyone's only talking about Landon Sally, but the freshman Jovan Strine, there's some people who think that kid's going to be just as good as Sally. So they're going to be a fun one in the next years.
And then I guess the last one that we haven't talked about is Red Lion over Seneca Valley. Red Lions, the District 3, they won the third place game over York, William Penn, and they beat the number 4 seed out of District 7, the Whippeal, Seneca Valley. So Red Lion, it's not easy at this point. Red Lion has Upper St. Clair, okay, and I mean there's a hand.
My man.
I think somebody mentioned it. Somebody in my circle that I talked to mentioned it recently that there's like a handful of teams that could win it this year, and Upper St. Clair might be one of them if the ball bounces right. Newcastle, Imhotep, let's throw Central Dauphin in there. I know that my Central Dauphin friends are going to be upset that I waited that long, but I think things will have to go well for them. We'll have to have a good night of shoot. I think to beat Imhotep or Father Judge, because they're about the same. That game went down to the wire. I watched that almost that whole game. That Father Judge Imhotep game was a week or so ago, Dave, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Those teams are very equal and very, very good.
They wouldn't face them until the final game.
Right. Central Dauphin wouldn't. Yeah. The problems with on that side of the bracket though were probably the biggest problem would probably be Upper St. Clair, and that doesn't
Who's
mean
the one seed out of the Whippeal, which is always tough.
The one seed out of the Whippeal.
No, I'm saying that's who that is.
Oh yeah. And then Newcastle's the 2 seed. Yeah, Upper St. Clair beat Newcastle, and they're almost 1-1A. I mean, they're both very good teams. So that's about it, guys, for all the classes. I think we got a lot accomplished there. And so, Dan, you're going to be at a couple games this week, right?
Yeah, somehow ended up with a shorter drive for both of these games than I did for the first round, which usually the first round it's like a 15-minute, but we made the executive decision to go down to Coatesville and it worked out. So
how's that gym down there? I've never been there. Dave's been there a million times.
Coatesville?
Oh,
it's a great environment. Absolutely great.
It looked like a great environment online.
They pack you in, but it's a great environment. I definitely recommend it.
It's like you're on a small college campus too. That's a campus.
Nothing to me beats Martz Hall down in Pottsville. So.
Oh yeah, March Hall's the best.
Nothing. Yeah, that's the best. You just walk in there, you're like, wow. Every time I've been there, 8 or 10 times. Every time I still walk in there, I go, wow, look at this. This is something else.
Yeah.
The Coatesville gym, named after the late great Silver Fox Ross Kershey.
And who is Ross Kershey, Dave?
Oh, one of the greatest coaches ever. Pride of Western PA. Track and field coach and boys basketball coach at Coatesville.
Okay. All right.
Silver
Dave,
Fox.
anything else for the good?
Pencrest, what a job they did. 5A. Mikey Meada, the 6'7" kid, is back. We thought he had a season-ending eye injury. I'm sure, Dan, you've heard about that. ABC News going to do a feature on him tonight. And he's back. And they held York Suburban to 29 points. Coach Doyle on that defense. This is a generational team for Pencrest. I know you don't. This is
I like generational if it applies. I think it's overused sometimes.
York Suburban went down there and shot 8 for 40 from the field.
Wow.
8 for 5.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't get it done.
So we'll see. Pencrest could make a run, but watch out for Bonner. And you saw what they did at Selinsgrove the other night.
Right. John, anything?
So,
what are you looking forward to?
Second round of states now. You're looking at 3A and 6A games are on Wednesday night. 4A and 5A games are on Tuesday night.
Okay, and we don't know about 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, I look at them.
Let's give 1 and 2. We just do our best to show the love to the smaller
Chester
clubs.
Charter, baby. Chester Charter.
The 1A is on Friday.
2A is on Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
Wednesday. 2A is Wednesday.
1A is Tuesday. 2A is Wednesday. Thanks.
Chester
Dan,
Charter versus
Dan, what are you looking forward to? Anything that sticks out to you?
And 1A or 2A?
No, just overall. Any matchups, any players, any coaches, anything?
I'm definitely interested to see kind of. I'm always interested with these after a big win, how a team responds to that. Chambersburg come off of probably up there. Them and Souderton, I'd say probably 2 of the biggest wins of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to that? They've got a tough game. Central Catholic's good at every sport, it feels like, but I don't think anything's not winnable for them. So looking forward to that. And I'm excited to go to the McDevitt Archbishop Carroll game.
Good, yeah.
Carroll
all right,
should be fun.
Golf clap for that answer.
Jamie Moyer, right, Dan?
Yeah, I believe so.
Who, the pitcher?
Jamie Moyer's sister was my music teacher in middle school.
Oh wow, okay. Well, how was her slider?
I mean, she would. I remember I once came in with an ESPN the Magazine interview, and she was. It was Jamie Moyer, like a question and answer. And she was just like saying, "This isn't true. He's lying about this and everything." So,
Jamie Moyer was throwing pitches like 72 miles an hour when he was like 45 years old and still
He
getting
got like
wins.
a knuckle curve or
I
something.
don't know, dude. He was just throwing these big, like kind of haymaker kind of, So anyway,
What do
all
they
right,
call that? The ephus pitch.
Is that what it is? Okay, we have derailed again, guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you. John Bellios, as always. Dave Berman, as always. Penn Live Patriot News, Dan Sostek, always bringing the facts. Dan, thank you very much. And we're going to do this. We're going to run it back next week. And we might have Coach Jeff Hoke from Central York on, or Dave.
Billy Cass.
Or, one of those two.
I would like to have Bill. I'm giving him a shot here. So
okay, well then we'll have him, and then you know what?
Can we get both of them on for like 10 minutes?
No, because I like them to have a chance to have full 20 minutes.
Oh, I love
Jeff Hoke won a state championship 2 years ago. Okay,
Right.
He might be the guy to have on the following week. Then we could have them both on. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it.
all right,
Everybody, thanks
See
for
you
tuning
guys.
in. Enjoy your Sunday night.